Hey, huh? No, no, I'm not. I'm not hiding. I was wiping these. I was wiping these off because they were. Oh, they were getting. Hey, while I have you, you got a second? I just wanted to talk to you for a second. You know what I'm saying? There was something that the Lord had been talking to me about. What'd you say? Yes, I know it's kind of creepy, just the way that you passed by. Just because I happened to be in the bushes, but I wasn't, I wasn't just, I wasn't hiding or like stalking you. It's just that the Lord had a word for you, and I was, I was gonna, after I finished with the plant, I was about to call you, but you had passed by. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, I might as well go ahead and tell you while you here. Ain't that crazy? We in the same place at the same time. I'll be wondering how the prophets felt back in the day. You know, the Lord asked you to go tell somebody something. I mean, whoever that is, they just living their best life. They doing whatever they do. Okay, they just going on about their normal day, and you over here got to figure out how to insert yourself into their day to tell them what the Lord said. I just be wondering how they feel. I bet that's how they be too. I'm gonna casually run into him. No, it's not. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him on the phone and just gonna have a regular conversation, and then maybe we can just like lead. I can lead into what I was gonna say about. It's gonna be obvious. Maybe when they come out of the store, I could just be standing beside their car. Ugh, that's stupid. That's creepy. What is wrong with you? Ain't that how they be? I just wonder. I just wonder. I just wonder. I feel like there would be like no safe, uncreepy way to just insert yourself into someone's day and tell them something random that is a lot of the times something a little like spooky or a little unsettling that you have to tell them. Like, how do you even start? Like, prophets. Shout out to the prophet. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Walk Live. Listen, for all you who've been rocking with me since day one, you and you and you over there in the back, you know I love you. And for all of you, I just felt like, I don't know how, I just started feeling like singing a grand song for a second. It was like I was on stage. It was on Broadway or something. And for all of you who are new, thank you for stopping by. I hope you like what you see and what you hear. My name is Sakima. I post on this channel every Tuesday. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, all the things, all of those buttons on your screen. Just start to push all of them so that you do not miss an upload. What do I post on this channel? I post different nuggets, lessons that God has given me along my journey. They've helped me chip away at some of the barriers that have been in my path. And my hope is that they will help you as well. I like to say that when you come to this channel, you'll find inspiration, you'll find laughter, and you'll find life. So if that's what you came here for, you're in the right place. Y'all, I want to take a moment to just shout out to all of you who have been watching. Y'all are showing out. I thank you so much for your support. I know y'all hear me say this all the time, but I just want to reiterate. I am celebrating every single milestone on this channel, and this is one, you guys. I am pleased to announce that I have now reached 3,000 collective, well, over now, 3,000 collective views for this channel. What? Showing out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're really getting something out of this. I hope that you are not keeping it to yourself. I hope that you are sharing so that someone else can be blessed, someone else can be helped as well, just as you were helped when you watched. So, you guys, thank you so much for helping me reach that milestone, and it's only up from here. So, I'm excited, and I love you so much. Big hugs for you. Now, what I want to do is, if you feel like I already like this girl, okay, she is my cup of tea, and you want to go ahead and push that subscribe button, I want to give you the opportunity. So I'm going to stop talking right now so you can hit that subscribe button, okay? Okay, go ahead. Do your thing. You hit that subscribe button. Okay. That's I like that. I like that. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to the family. All right. So let's get right into this. Yes, yes. Today we're talking about love and pain. So I was thinking the other day, just sitting here like, this is a different place that I'm in my life. Yes, I have grown. I have aged, like gotten years older and things like that. But what really made the difference in my life? What made me change for the better? What is it that helped me change from the way that I used to be to who I am now? What is it that made me put down a lot of the things that I was doing and participating in to become someone who is submitted to God? Like, for real. Like, in public and private. I realized that it was both love and pain. It wasn't one single moment that it was like, I'm changed. It was not. It took time and patience and lots of working with me, lots of bad decisions, lots of knuckleheaded moments, lots of things. And but mainly what I could boil it down to was love and pain. For all of you who know me, you know that I'm looking at my notes. So y'all, if you see me looking over here, then that's what I'm looking at. I'll be reading some from my notes, and we'll be having our conversation like normal. I want to start by reading Lamentations 3, verse 1 through 33. And I want to give a disclaimer. Throughout our conversation, I'm going to be referencing my daughter a lot. And that's because she is in that adolescent stage and she's learning a lot. And her adolescent stage, it reminds me a lot of my adolescent stage, my spiritual adolescent stage, when I was younger than I am now spiritually. And I was still making a lot of different mistakes. Yeah, so I'll be referencing her a lot just because she is in that adolescent stage. My son, he's kind of coasting. He's grown up some, so he's not in so much of that adolescent stage that he is making all kinds of mistakes, or just where he is so unaware of certain things. So that's why these are more it's more appropriate to reference my 3-year-old than it is my 12-year-old. All right, so let's read. Jeremiah writes in Lamentation, Jeremiah is a prophet. And let me just say, after studying about prophets in this time, oh my goodness, I do not envy them. Okay, I would not have wanted to be them because they really experienced a lot of affliction. They experienced a lot of pain. They experienced a lot of hardship. I mean, they were trying to talk to some hard-headed people, and they were wrestling with the disciplines that they had to endure because of this assignment that was on their life. They were wrestling with people not listening. They were wrestling with people making fun of them, people even abusing them, assaulting them. And it was mentally and physically taxing on them to carry out this assignment. But they were committed, and there was nothing else that they could see themselves doing. The prophet Jeremiah, the same one I'm about to read some of his writing, he's the one that said, your word was like fire shut up in my bones. And that was right after he said basically that he was going to say that I'm going to shut my mouth and not even mention your name anymore. And then he said, but your word was like fire shut up in my bones. And I love it because it really shows that wrestling, that back and forth, that being on both sides. I love how the Bible is authentic in that way, that it doesn't try to hide the things that sound negative, the opinions of those who carried out these huge tasks. It doesn't try to hide that. It includes all of it. And we need all of it. One, it helps us to see the validity in this text, in this book, in this word. And number two, it helps us to see ourselves in the scripture, because we all wrestle, right? So what I'm about to read, let's see, what did I say? Lamentations 3, 1 through 33. Y'all stay with me. I am the man who has seen affliction under the rod of God's wrath. He has driven me away and made me walk in darkness instead of light. Indeed, he keeps turning his hand against me all day long. He has worn away my flesh and skin. He has shattered my bones. He has besieged me and surrounded me with bitterness and hardship. He has made me dwell in darkness like those dead for ages. He has walled me in so I cannot escape. He has weighed me down with chains. Even when I cry out and plead for help, he shuts out my prayer. He has barred my ways with cut stones. He has made my path crooked. He is a bear lying in wait, a lion hiding in ambush. He forced me off my path and tore me to pieces. He left me without help. He bent his bow and set me as the target for his arrow. He pierced my kidneys with his arrows. I'm a laughingstock to all my people. They mock me in song all day long. He has filled me with bitterness. He has intoxicated me with wormwood. He has ground my teeth with gravel and trampled me in the dust. My soul has been deprived of peace. I have forgotten what prosperity is. So I say my strength has perished along with my hope from the Lord. That's deep. There's somebody experiencing how they feel. They are venting. They're crying out. They are like, man, this is, you just got me in a bad place, Lord. I'm just feeling bad. You just done left me, ain't you? You just done all this stuff to me, and I'm just, look at me. People laughing at me and all this kind of, look, I just feels like you just shot me with an arrow. You just left me. It just seemed like you just got me out here by myself, and this is him really going off right now. Now let's continue reading. Remember my affliction and wandering, The wormwood and the gall, surely my soul remembers, and is humbled within me. Yet I call this to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the loving devotion of the Lord, we are not consumed, for his mercies never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man to bear the yoke while he is still young. Let him sit alone in silence, for God has disciplined him. Let him bury his face in the dust. Perhaps there is still hope. Let him offer his cheek to the one who would strike him. Let him be filled with reproach. For the Lord will not cast us off forever. Even if he causes grief, he will show compassion according to his abundant loving devotion. For he does not willingly afflict or grieve the sons of men. Now, was that two different tunes or what? I love reading that, like I said, because you get to see that dynamic. You get to see that struggle. It's like, oh. But Lord, my God, my soul knows full well that you are amazing. Great is your faithfulness and your loving kindness. I mean, we still feel. We're still human. We still get that frustration. But we remember that love. We have the love and the pain. Let's talk about the pain. I have needed every bit of the pain I have experienced. I think of each of the hard times in my life as another brick on my path to the will of God. Imagine being in the park and you are walking a trail. You see plenty of interesting things on each side of this trail. What keeps you on or off that trail? Your past experiences and or your desires for the future. So I was in the park with my daughter the other day, and I was trying to get her to the other side of the park where the playground was. She likes to walk over there. There are sprinklers over there. Sometimes I let her run through the sprinklers. I was trying to get her to the other side of the park. That's the park. That's the part of the park that she really enjoys. On this particular day, however, we just could not get there. We could not get there. I tried, but everything that she saw was like a distraction. Every bird that she saw, she ran after the bird, trying hopelessly to catch these birds. Even came to me at some points like they won't let me catch them. I'm looking at her like, yeah, honey, they're not gonna let you. They're not gonna let you catch them, honey. Yet and still, she was running around doing everything. She was picking up sticks. She was doing all the things. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I couldn't do anything but sit there and wait for her to finish. I literally couldn't do it. She was picking up leaves. Like, she was running up the hill. She was chasing birds and squirrels, and she was doing everything. As much as I tried to get her to the other part of that park, that part that she really enjoys, she was just running around. So I couldn't do anything. I stopped calling her like, come, hey, come on. Nope, come this way. Nope, this way. Nope, this way. Nope, come this way. So I just sat down and waited for her. I just waited. Now, on the other hand, there were times when we saw dogs. Yeah, she's not having it with the dogs. Now, she hasn't necessarily had bad experiences, but just a collection of movies or different cartoons that she's seen, along with how some dogs just look a little scary. Those experiences for her were enough to keep her beside me. Like, oh, that's okay. I'm not going over there. That's fine. You mentioned a dog. You mentioned bugs and mosquitoes and things like that. Oh no, she's like, what you need me to do? We're going straight ahead. Okay, that's fine. What you say? Get in the car because the dog's coming. Oh, yep, sure will. Like that's all it takes. Those experiences are what help her to stay in line whenever those particular things are around. She faces those things now. She remembers what her experiences are with those things, and she is in line. She is good to go. And a lot of times the dogs look interesting. I mean, we see some of the prettiest dogs, some of the biggest dogs come in that park, some of the most interesting looking ones with the moppy hair, or very white, fluffy dogs that are little small, cute dogs. We see all kinds, but she still is like, that's a dog. That is a dog. I am going to just stay right here. And so those experiences help her to stay the course, to stay the path with her mom. We can look at those as negative, more negative experiences. So her wonderful experiences with birds and nature and leaves and trees and squirrels, like she has fun with those. She likes those. And so therefore, if she sees those, she'll go and run after them. But her negative experiences or her negative understanding or negative idea of those other things, the mosquitoes, the bugs, the dogs, those are the things that help her to stay away. And sometimes we pity those who are experiencing those negative times, those hardships, that pain. We pity those people, but sometimes it's good. My favorite part in that passage that I read, my favorite verses are 27 and 28 and 29. So 27 through 29. It is good for man to bear the yoke while he is still young. It's good for me to deal with these hard things while I'm young. It's good for me, even in this young age. It's good for me to deal with these things. It's good for me to experience these things. How many of you know that the sooner you are able to get an understanding of these things, experience these things, you will develop the things that you need going forward faster. So therefore, you're not going through your entire life making these bad decisions, and then later on you're having to reap the consequences, and by this time you've wasted half or over half of your life. So it is good for a man to bear the yoke while he is still young. Let him sit alone in silence, for God has disciplined him. My God. Sometimes I think about how this journey can be lonely. When you're trying to do the will of God, you can't be a part of every crowd. You can't be a part of every ruckus. You sometimes have to be alone. Sometimes you're alone observing. Sometimes you're walking through the park by yourself. Sometimes you're at home at night and you're by yourself. You're watching a movie by yourself. Sometimes that's the best place to be. And it's and sometimes it gets hard, but there's a part of me that is just like Jeremiah that cherishes that. I get it when it says, let him sit alone in silence, for God has disciplined him. I'm not in that crowd over there because I know something, because I've been through something, because I've experienced something. Yeah, it's hard over here. It can get tiresome. It can get lonely over here. But I know something. This is definitely where I want to be, as opposed to over there. Let him sit alone, for God has disciplined him. Ain't nothing like God disciplining you. Nothing like it. God has shown me why I don't want to be over there. So let him sit there. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I think about that now, and that helps me to be secure in my time of isolation or my time where I'm alone, where I'm not able to be a part of all of that stuff over there, I look at that and I say, let me sit alone. For God has disciplined me. God has brought me to this place. And I can be confident in this place. It says, let him bury his face in the dust. Perhaps there is still hope. It's basically saying, let him go. Let him, hey, he all right. He ain't in no trouble. Okay? Let him bury his face in the, yeah, let him get frustrated. Let him experience all that. Let him do that. I bet he won't do it again. Who does that sound like? Your mama? Your daddy? Your granny? Go on, let him. He all right. Let him. Let him. So sometimes we pity those people who are experiencing those things because we know the pain of it. But it is that very pain that will help us later on. We need that. We need that. We need some of that. Sometimes those hard moments, that pain, is another brick on our path to the will of God, which is the best place to be in. The Bible says in John 15:5-6, I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, he is like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. So yeah, in the presence of God is the best place to be. He is the vine, and we are the branches. We know that the vine is what holds that nutrients for those branches, right? It gives us what we need to thrive, to survive, to live. In this same park with my daughter, I remember seeing one day when we went, there were bundled sunflowers over there. And I was like, why did someone pick these and just bundle them up right here? And they were like laying in bundles, just laying there like, somebody come and get me. I don't know if they just picked them and they meant for people to come and get them, but I'm sure many people pass by thinking that these belong to someone. They're so pretty. They belong to someone, so they probably were like, I'm not going to pick them up. And so they just sat there, and I just was in awe. I was looking at them. I was looking at how beautiful they were, and I was remembering the last time that I had gone somewhere to see sunflowers, and I was like, this is, I don't see this anywhere around here usually on my, on a day-to-day basis. I don't see sunflowers. So to just see a random bundles here in the park, just laying here on this little bench, like, wow, it's kind of nice. So I didn't touch it, not knowing if it was somebody's or not. So I just, I was like, wow, look at that. That's beautiful. And I just walked away from them. And we've gone to the park several times since then. I haven't really just paid too much of attention to it. So I finally walked back past there recently, though. And those same beautiful sunflowers were black. Black. It looked like they had been burned. And it reminded me of the word. If anyone does not remain in me, he is like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. I knew right away that that was something that God wanted me to remember. I immediately was reminded of the word when I saw those flowers, the state of those flowers. They literally were black. They looked like someone had burned those flowers. I expected them to, shrivel up or something, but my goodness, they were black. It looked like if I touched them, they would just turn to ashes. They were black. No one burned those flowers, but they looked burnt. It was just that they were disconnected from their source of life. That's what was wrong with those flowers. They were disconnected from their source of life. We often want to think of God as being the one that kind of like pushes us into the danger. Like, well, is God punishing me? This is what is happening. But could it be that this is simply the result. This thing that's happening, this thing that we're going through, is simply the result of us disconnecting from our source of life. Just like these flowers, sometimes it's not that someone burnt you, it's that you disconnected from your source of life. So sometimes those hardships, that pain, is what keeps us connected. And we need those. We need those things. Now let's talk about the love. Yeah, I needed both the love and the pain. Romans 8:35 says, "Who will separate us from Christ's love? Will we be separated by trouble or distress or harassment or famine or nakedness or danger or sword?" This site that I'm reading from is called womansday.com. And it says that the good news about that verse is there is no calamity, physical or emotional, that can separate us from the love of our Lord. I love that. There is nothing that will separate us from the love God has for us. We can reject God's love, but we can't make him stop loving us. I am so thankful for that, because it would happen a long time ago if I could. Sometimes my daughter, whenever something happens and she gets in trouble, and I'm like, "No, sir, you cannot do that. Do not do that. I told you not to do that. Now look at this. Look at the mess you've made. Look at this has happened. Look, you got hurt. Look at the," whatever the thing may be. She gets really emotional, and she's like, "You don't love me anymore." Now she's 3. And she's just begun to do this. I don't know why she just started doing this, but she did. But I love it because it's an opportunity for me to say, "Yeah, I love you. I love you. Yes, I do love you, and I will love you forever." Sometimes she's even gone to the lengths of saying, "I don't love you anymore," because she's associated her pain with, well, that means she doesn't love me anymore, or "I'm angry. I don't love you anymore." She hasn't grasped the concept of love yet. And so this is how she understands it. So I have to remind her, "Well, you know what? I love you anyway. I don't care if you do something wrong, if you get in trouble, if I'm upset, I love you anyway. Even if you say you don't love me, I love you. I love you. I love you anyway. I love you forever." And she'll be crying and still, pouting or whatever through her tears. And then, she'll give me a hug. And then I'll ask her, "You love me?" And she'll say, "Yes, I love you." And the very first time that she ever said that I didn't love her or that she didn't love me, there was no hesitation. I made up my mind in that moment that I will remind her until the day I die that I love her. I don't care what she does. I will remind her that I love her. She will not be able to push me away in that way that I will stop loving her. I will tell her forever that I love her. I don't care about this tantrum she's throwing. I love her very much, but I still have to teach her. And so this is me trying to teach her and discipline her so that she can stay connected, she can stay on the right path. But I also tell her, "I love you. I love you." And that's the same way God does us. He has loved me unconditionally. I needed both the love and the pain. I needed to be able to find God's loving arms to run into when I got hurt from being disobedient. I needed to know that although I could use certain similarities about the parent-child relationship to try to understand his love for me, that ultimately his love is so great, so pure, that the earthly love I have experienced doesn't even begin to describe his love for me. I needed to hear of the gory, details of his sacrifice on the cross. I needed to know that the one who knew I would knowingly break his heart over and over still chose to die for me. Yeah, I needed that love. I needed that love. I needed to sit at home alone and think about God standing there waiting for me to finish frolicking around like I did with my little girl in the park that day. I'm telling you, it was truly love and pain that changed me. It really was. Every bit of that pain that I experienced, all of those heartbreaks, all of the rejection, all of the times where he blocked something that I was trying to do and I was frustrated, all of the time that I went on ahead and touched the fire and got burned. I needed that. And I needed to come to a moment of frustration and have to sit there after feeling that jolt of pain. And I needed to be able to remember what he told me about his sacrifice for me. And that even though he knew that I would do the thing I just did, that he still loved me. I needed to sit there and understand that I can't understand his love for me. It was those things together that brought me to a place of surrender. Those things together that brought me to that place where I say, this is where I need to be. There is no better place. And I want you to know that although it was love and pain that changed me, it takes intentional efforts for me to stay on the path of God's will. So you will have to put in work. You will have to put in work. But let that love and pain you experience help you stay on the course. And please ask God to help you on this journey. His Holy Spirit, ask him to live inside of you so that you can have help on this journey, because it's not easy. The way that we are, even knowing consequences is not enough to stop us at times. So we need God's Spirit living in us, helping us to make the right decision each day, changing our hearts, changing our ways of thinking, ways of reasoning, so that we can be better people. We need God's Spirit to help us do that. So please ask for that. Y'all listen. I hope that helps somebody. I just had to testify for a minute. It was both love and pain that changed me. You know what I always say. My journey with God has been just that, a journey. And it's one that I know I was called to share with you. And so I want to thank you for joining me week in and week out on the walk.